The Supreme Court, in a 7-member panel decision, has dismissed the case by the opposition NDC, which sought an order for the inclusion of the existing voter ID card, and also one Mr. Mark Benson, who wanted the inclusion of birth certificates as a source document for eligibility to register in the upcoming registration exercise.
The court has given the Electoral Commission the go-ahead to compile a new register of voters for the 2020 elections.
The latest development forms part of activities to procure a new biometric voter management solution, which the EC says will eliminate factors that compromise the integrity and credibility of elections.
We would like to remind you that in 2016, the registration we had in total 47% failure rate for the BVRs during the preparation to registration period. We had high rate of failure of prepared kits, which were sent to the registration centers.
The court, in its judgment, ordered the EC to compile the register in accordance with CI 126 as amended. The court, presided over by the Chief Justice, Justice Eniyaboa, dismissed claims by the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, that the EC can only compile the register once and review it periodically. The court also dismissed claims for the inclusion of the birth certificates as basis for proof of citizenship. In March 2020, the NDC filed a suit against the EC and the Attorney General on grounds that the pending registration exercise was unconstitutional because per Article 45A of the 1992 Constitution, the EC could only compile a fresh voters register once and revise it periodically. Secondly, the suit also sought a declaration that the EC's decision of not including the existing voter ID card as a means of identification for the registration was unconstitutional, as it sinned against Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution, which gives a Ghanaian national the right to vote and also the right to register to vote. The NDC on June 11, 2020, excluded their first claim, challenging the decision by the EC to compile a new voters register for the 2020 general elections, after the Supreme Court observed that both claims could not be given consideration. Meanwhile, Mr. Mark Benson, a private citizen, also sued the EC at the Supreme Court in relation to the use of the Ghana card and the Ghanaian passport as the only identification document for the upcoming mass voters registration exercise. In his writ, Mr. Benson sought an order directing the EC to include a birth certificate and the existing voters ID as proof of identification in the upcoming voter registration exercise. He also sought a declaration that upon a true and proper interpretation of Article 45, the EC can only revise and expand the register at periods as may be specified by law. The court, in its judgment, agreed with the plaintiff that upon a true and proper interpretation of the provisions of the Constitution, a right is accrued a person who bears the existing voter ID card. However, such persons must make themselves available and comply with CI 126, which specifies that an applicant can only use the Ghanaian passport and the Ghana card or two registered voters to validate an applicant's eligibility for a new voter ID. The court also held the plaintiff's position that the power of the EC to register the voters register must be exercised subject to respect and the protection of the right to vote.